What's up everyone? Playing some Mono Normal today, which is the second to last type we have to play besides Ghost on this generation. This DLC before the new one comes out later this year. So with that, we're going to jump straight into the team. So this team was kind of inspired by a friend of mine, Swirlex13, over on Discord. He passed me a team similar to this, which I got inspiration from, and kind of melded that together with my typical normal team, which is what we have here today. So right off the bat, we do have Noctowl. Now, Noctowl is one of the Pokemon Swirlex used on his team, so we're going to be using that. With that, the role of Noctowl kind of is to eat fighting types attacks because it is part flying type, so thankfully we do get the neutrality from fighting, though we don't see too many special attacking fighting types. They do exist. For example, like Keldeo or Lucario, for example, can give the team a bit of trouble as they are able to break other specially defensive Pokemon. So with that, its moveset wise, we have Calm Mind, Substitute, Hurricane and Hyper Voice. So, thanks to its HP stat of 100 base, it just about reaches 404 HP, meaning it can set up a substitute and not be broken by a single seismic toss, which is super important for matchups like Chansey, Blissey, or anything of the sort. On top of that, because it has amazing special defense with 320, it can actually eat quite a good few special attacks, especially behind a substitute after some Calm Minds. Now, its special attack isn't all that impressive at 209, however, after some Calm Mind, this does get boosted up quite high, and Hyper Voice and Hurricane are both stab, boasting a 90 and 110 base power, respectively. So Hyper Voice is great for going through substitutes, which my team can struggle with because it can be a bit defensive at times, and Hurricane in general is just very strong stab. Not the most accurate, but does hit very hard. And you're probably thinking these two are kind of like walled out by a lot of types, like a lot of common rock types, a lot of common steel types, which would be true if it weren't for its ability Tinted Lens, which doubles not very effective damage, effectively making half by damage neutral. So there's actually very little that can wall Noctowl after a few Calm Minds, which make it very, very strong and potent in the team. So hopefully it'll get to put in some good work. Next up we have Porygon 2. Porygon 2 is going to be my specially defensive wall, as I'm actually not running Chansey on this team, which is a bit strange for a lot of normal teams, but I decided to go for a slightly more aggressive balanced team than the pure balance or defensive team that normal typically plays. So with Porygon 2, we have max HP, max special defense with a calm nature, quite similar to that of my Noctowl, but this gives me a secondary specially defensive wall on the team, especially having being a lot more specially defensive Noctowl naturally because of Eviolite. It boosts over 450 special attack, while not having to suffer in the defense department, having a lovely over 300 defense. With that, we have Recover for longevity, which can help to stall out opponents or just kind of keep Porygon 2 healthy for later in the game. We have Teleport, which is one of the best momentum tools in the game currently. It has a negative priority swap out, which means like essentially allows me to either scout from my opponent what they do. If they swap into a Pokemon, then I can answer that with my own Pokemon, or I can allow Porygon 2 to soak up a hit before swapping into one of my frailer Pokemon, for example Porygon-Z, or maybe Ditto if I want to copy them. Next up we have Foul Play. So Foul Play is boosted by Analytic, I believe, because the Pokemon attacks have 1.3 times power if they're last in the turn. So Porygon 2's speed isn't that impressive at 156, so for example if something wants to Swords Dance or maybe Dragon Dance in my face, the Analytic boost will make this 30% stronger. I believe, I cannot confirm that, but I'm almost certain it does, which will be really good for taking care of physically offensive threats. For example, a Dragapult wants to Dragon Dance in my face, the Foul Play one will hit KO it. And finally we have Toxic. Toxic is just there to kind of stop opponents stall who aren't steel or poison types. So next up we have Braviary. Braviary is going to be a physically defensive Braviary with max defense, max HP, impish nature. So the team is definitely somewhat defensive in nature, but we do have some important breakers coming up later on. With this, Braviary really does not need to invest much into attack to still hit quite hard, and due to its flying typing as well, similar to Noctowl, it can easily soak up some fighting hits, especially more on the physical side, with its impressive HP and decent defense. Now with that, we have Defiant as an ability to increase my attack 2 stages if we do take any stat lowering effects. For example, Intimidate or Defog, if I swap into one of those, Bravery becomes a lot stronger, and therefore we don't really need to invest in attack to make this thing quite potent. Moveset wise, we have Roost for longevity, Defog because the team otherwise does struggle with hazards, so we do need some form of control in that regard. U-Turn to grab momentum, and Brave Bird to take care of fighting types. And we are running Heavy Duty Boots as our item, so we can continuously swap in those stealth rocks that could be giving my team hassle. Next up we have Porygon-Z with Choice Specs. So what Choice Specs Porygon-Z does is quite simply it hits really hard, with adaptability, making it stab twice as powerful instead of 1.5 times as powerful. Moves like Hyper Beam become a whopping 300 base, and Tri Attack becomes a very respectable 160 base. So this essentially allows Porygon-Z to break tons of walls in the tier, especially those who don't wall it out. For example, off the top of my head, the calc for Hyper Beam on defensive, especially defensive talk specs, so max special defense, max HP talk specs. Hyper Beam can, I think there's at least a 50% chance to one-hit KO. So after entry hazards, which granted my team don't have, but even just after a small bit of chip or entry hazards that Ditto can copy, for example, the Hyper Beam can guarantee one-hit KO Toxapex, which is really important. Now, I won't be clicking Hyper Beam too often because unfortunately it does make me have to recharge the next turn, so Tri Attack is there for more so hitting things that was really strong without having to have the drawback of recharging. Next up we have Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse is good for the ghosts in the tier because other than that they completely wall out my Hyper Beam and Tri Attack. So it just hits ghosts, and potentially, actually there's no point really using that over anything else against a resist because due to adaptability, the Tri Attack and Hyper Beam are essentially the same power as Dark Pulse, unless the Dark Pulse is super effective. And finally, we have Trick. Trick is great for crippling walls. For example, as I said earlier, the Toxapex, maybe it wants to set up toxic spikes in my face. I can trick it at Choice Specs, and suddenly my Tri Attack becomes a lot more threatening on the Toxapex because it's forced to swap out into an ally unless it wants to eat some adaptability stab Tri Attacks. And finally, stat-wise, we are running Timid Nature because we do need a bit of speed control in the team because the team is not the fastest. And with adaptability, its special attack hits plenty hard. Now, I might end up changing this to a Choice Scarf Porygon-Z later in the episode, depending how it does, because the team does kind of also lack a bit of immediate speed control in that regard. But speaking of speed control, we do have Ditto. So Ditto is a very standard imposter Ditto with Choice Scarf. So what this allows it to do is just come in, and Imposter allows it to change into the opponent's Pokemon and copies their stat boosts when it comes in. So what this lets Ditto do is come in and, for example, copy maybe a Dragon Pulse that's been Dragon Dancing, a Haxorus that's been Swords Dancing, a Belly Drum, a Azumarill, anything like that wants to set up in my face. Ditto comes in, copies that, and pretty much guarantees outspeed them due to having its own Choice Scarf. So it's a fantastic late game sweeper / anti-sweeper to the team, and it will be my main form of speed control, but also be able to potentially lay down hazards in the early game. If I do copy, for example, a Stealth Rock Pokemon, we can try Stealth Rocks in the early game. And finally we have Beware. Beware is a physically defensive monster with max defense, max HP, Impish Nature, again much similar to my Bravery. It can soak up some serious hits, especially thanks to its fluffy ability, which lets it take half damage from contact moves. Unfortunately, it does take 2 bites from fire, so we have to be wary about that in the fire matchup. But other than that, Fluffy lets this thing absolutely just eat things like Superpower, Close Combat, basically any contact move in the tier. Grassy Glide is another big one from Rillaboom. Beware just absolutely eats them up, taking half damage on top of its already really impressive HP and very impressive defense. Now, moveset wise, we have Bulk Up to increase my already impressive defense and patch up my nice attack. So even not invested at all, my defense outreaches my attack. My attack already is stronger than my defense by 2 points. So Bulk Up patches that up nicely and lets Beware become very threatening foe in the late game. We have Drain Punch for longevity as well as Stab. It does allow me to just gain back a lot of HP. For example, a Terrakion wants to close combat me, it lowers its defense, Drain Punches, I get most of, if not all, the HP back the Terrakion could do to me while knocking it out. Next up we have Facade. Facade is really important for in case Beware gets status. For example, it gets burned, poisoned or paralysis, which can happen quite a lot in the tier, and we don't have too much anti-status tech on the team. So Facade becomes a scarily 140 base stab, which just absolutely destroys walls. For example, if a Toxapex wants to start scalding me and actually burns me after a Bulk Up, Facade can just do massive chunks of HP to the Toxapex. And finally we have Darkest Lariat. Darkest Lariat is there for the ghost types in the tier because other than that, again, they do wall out my Drain Punch and Facade, so we do need a dark move on the Pokemon to hit those ghost types. As well as that allows me to hit things that maybe want to click Iron Defense or Cotton Guard, and maybe like Body Press builds like that, like Corviknight, Double I think runs it sometimes. So with Darkest Lariat we can ignore their defense changes and hit them directly, which is super nice for breaking walls. And finally we have leftovers for longevity. Not much to say in that regard, so we're going to jump into some games. Hopefully you do enjoy, and if you do, if you're watching this point, please do leave a like, subscribe, comment, whatever, anything like that really helps me out. And we're going to pause there till we jump into a game. I'll be right back. Okay, so we have a game and it's against Mono Psychic. Now in this game Jirachi can definitely be a bit of an issue for me because it is part steel type, so it can kind of resist a lot of what I have. That said, Porygon 2 is very nice, as well as Porygon Z, to be able to click things like Choice Specs, Dark Pulse. Unfortunately, Beware won't be the best, but as well as that, we actually do love Noctowl in this game. So here, I think I'm going to open up Braviary and kind of U-turn turn 1 if possible, as they go into Indeedee. Now, we don't want to give them Braviary turn 1 because it's quite strong to be able to U-turn around and kind of gain momentum. So we're going to go into Porygon 2 here. We should be able to live an Expanding Force as we are especially defensive, and that is most certainly specs based on that damage. So we're going to try to recover here and kind of just stall out their Psychic Terrain if possible. That might have been a low roll and they may be able to go and KO me. Or sorry, KO me here if they get a higher roll. So we will just try and recover to stall this out. Now Noctowl is so good in this game to be able to click like Calm Mind and just start sweeping with things like Hyper Voice and Hurricane, especially behind a sub. I'm curious, is Noctowl... No, it's not as bulky as Porygon 2, but it's not too far off. So here the play is, I think, to exactly try and stall out these Psychic Terrain turns and then hopefully get a Noctowl. If they go into something like Jirachi, we can always get in my Beware as they take in Hatterene. So I think the best play here is to get a Noctowl, as I should be able to live almost anything they throw my way, unless of course they are like specs and want to start throwing maybe more Expanding Forces my way, but I expect them to Trick Room. As I actually Calm Mind up, that's okay because I will do the same. Now if they do Calm Mind too much, it lets me copy them with Ditto, which can be quite nice. So I'm going to Calm Mind here until the last turn of Trick Room, in which turn I will try and sub up to have the advantage. So this turn I'm going to try sub up as they presumably go for another Calm Mind. Now the only thing I'm concerned about is they might be Psyshock, which is definitely could be an issue for me. I will Calm Mind again as they set up a Trick Room. So I think I might sub here. My thought process behind subbing is I want this Trick Room to end, as they are Psychic, not Psyshock, which could be good for me, as I should be able to live this nice enough. And here I'll just throw out some Stab Hurricanes. Nice, they're not doing too much damage to me at all. So I'm actually out damaging them here, and with good rolls I can survive through my sub. Now unfortunately a crit kind of ends this for both of us, as I do miss my Hurricane. I'll try sub up again as I go for a Draining Kiss. This can definitely be an issue for me. Either a crit or a confusion would be fantastic for me in this position. I'll sub again as they do break this turn. Worst case scenario, if they do manage to take care of my Noctowl, I do outspeed with other Pokemon. Hopefully we'll be able to OHKO it at the percent it's at. So they go for a Trick Room again, and in this position Hurricane is looking better and better. They do crit me unfortunately, as I do manage to confuse, which is super important, but I cannot unfortunately risk missing here, so I'm going to go for a Hyper Voice as I survive the Psychic. They're kind of forced to send in Slowbro, I believe. It's the only thing on their team that will be slower than me, as I am no investment speed Noctowl. And even so, I believe I can survive a hit from Slowbro at +6 special defense. So this puts me in quite a good position. So this is kind of why I decided to use Substitute over something like Roost, though Roost maybe would have been slightly better in this scenario. It's fantastic against Stall, as I said in the team preview. or team creation menu. So here I do believe I will live an attack unless they go for like a body press. They go for Scald and I get another KO. So Noctowl is putting in good work from like game 1. I click Hyper Voice again and I get rid of Indeedee. That's fantastic for me. It's kind of forces them to go in Jirachi as they go in Mew. I don't know what they can do. Okay, they click Psyshock and get the KO. Nice. This puts me in a slightly more difficult position where I think most of my Pokemon don't like eating a Psyshock. I'll go into Porygon-Z here and Tri-Attack is just as strong unless they swap into Jirachi. So I'll click Dark Pulse here. As they are Cold Berry, I should have possibly seen that coming. As unfortunately they crit me there, which is unfortunate, but it does reveal to me they are not a speedy Mew. So I'll Braviary here and you turn out. I think I can still win the end game with Porygon 2. Depending on what set Jirachi runs. Ooh, they did a lot of damage. And they do outspeed me, so I'll get in Ditto here and just get the KO. With Psyshock. As they go into Celebi, so I should have clicked Fire Blast there. I will take in Porygon 2. Actually, I think Bravery is the most expendable member of this position. I'll try U-turn here on the Jirachi coming in. So this is where Porygon 2 can click Foul Play, especially if it's analytic boosted. It should do a good chunk of damage, as they end up tricking me. They trick a Choice Scarf onto me, but that is okay because they are now very, very weak. As they U-turn. So Celebi could be an issue. I do crit there, which is nice. I think in this position, Foul Play really goes a long way to winning the game. Now this Celebi could be an issue for me, so I'm going to see what moveset it has. And I'm going to throw my own Stealth Rocks down just to kind of pressure Jirachi and Mew. So it might be a case where I'm going to have to try and stall out this Celebi's recovers. They go into their own Jirachi here. And I can see they can't really damage my Braviary at all with this Mew. Sorry, with the Celebi, so I'll keep that alive to U-turn on the Celebi. I go into Beware here, and I eat the Iron Head like it's nothing. So we are back. The internet has kind of been a bit dodgy today, but that's not too bad, because in this position, I just click Darkest Lariat here, as they do Healing Wish. Great play, as they're probably going to get in their Mew again. So that was a very good play on their part, as they do get in Mew and recover all their HP. I don't think Psyshock KOs me, as I am max defense. If they go for Fire Blast, again, great play here, as they go hard into Celebi, and I get a Darkest Lariat off. So I already know there's not much Celebi can do to damage me. They can go for a Giga Drain, but it shouldn't do too much damage. And in this position, I can bulk up into Darkest Lariat. If they T-Wave me, it puts me in a position where my Facade becomes much, much stronger, as that Giga Drain does no damage. So this is really putting the pressure on them. Unfortunately, Mew can be an issue in the end game. So what I'm going to do here, I don't know if Braviary eats 2 Giga Drains. Let's see, Giga Drain does 29%. I think it does. I am right, it definitely does. And I can roost up in his face. As there's not much they can do to me. And every time they want to swap into this Mew, they are losing a bit of HP thanks to Stealth Rock Chip. So they do T-Wave me, and I will U-turn here. On what's potentially a Mew coming in. As they go for a Giga Drain and end up giving me Celebi, assuming I'm not fully powered here, which I am. Again, we just U-turn here, as Giga Drain is not doing much damage at all. The U-turn should KO Celebi, as it is 4 times effective. And it puts me in a position where it forces them to be on a timer thanks to my Toxic. And if they go for a Nasty Plot, I can reverse sweep with Ditto. So I'm going to throw a Toxic out here, as they do tons of damage. Now unfortunately I am synchronized, so this is a dangerous position. I sack Porygon 2 here, I believe. and kind of hope the Toxic wears them out faster than they can KO me. So I think Ditto is the play here. And I will just click Psyshock to kind of make the timer go down faster. Nice. So this Psyshock should KO into Toxic, and that's going to be GG. So that was a close game towards the end, but we did manage to pull it off, and Noctowl put in so much work in the early game, so already deserving a spot in the thumbnail, I think. So I'm going to pause there till we find our next game. I'll be right back. So unfortunately we lost some free points in the last game because my internet did not want to load the match and we disconnected. But here we have a game against Mono Dark, which can definitely be an issue because things like Urshifu give my team quite a lot of trouble, as well as potentially Malamar if it sets up enough superpowers in my face. So I do have to play this one quite carefully, but we do love things like Beware. Bravery is quite nice too, as well as Noctowl could potentially put in work, but most importantly I think Ditto will be there to hopefully copy something like Urshifu or Malamar if they become an issue for me. So we're going to open up Bravery, hoping they open up Crocodile and intimidate me as they go in Mandibuzz turn 1. Will you turn here? Or they end up Toxicing me? So I'll try getting my Porygon 2 and click Toxic myself. If they do go into Bisharp, it can definitely be a bit of an issue. But we get a Toxic off, and I will teleport now to hopefully grab some momentum on their U-turn as they just hard swap into Bisharp. So my Beware comes out here and I click Drain Punch. They go into Mandibuzz as I kind of expected. I'm not going to let them Toxic me, so I'll go in Braviary here again. And just U-turn. They might Roost. But in this position I'm kind of okay with just infinitely gaining momentum between Porygon and Braviary. As we will go into Porygon 2 here. And again we teleport. So I will be slowly losing HP for Bravery, but I can always recover off these as they take in Bisharp. This can definitely be an issue for me, but I'm going to go hard Beware here. As they Swords Dance, we can just Drain Punch. It kind of forces them to take out Mandibuzz again as they actually go for a knockoff, giving me Bisharp and all my HP back. Now unfortunately they do get rid of my leftovers, which is a bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world for me. As Urshifu comes out, so I'm going to Drain Punch this again as they close combat, which does no damage. So Beware is just so bulky. Giving me all that damage on Urshifu is so important for me in the endgame. They take in Malamar. Now I expect them to try and superpower me here. And I want to keep my Beware healthy, so I'm going to try Bulk Up. Okay, that does no damage. So we're just going to try Bulk Up in their face. They're doing around 17% every turn. And now here I'm going to Drain Punch. Try to get as much of that back as possible. Ooh. I got like nothing back for that. So in this position I Darkest Lariat, which should put them quite low and in a position where my Ditto can kind of reverse sweep them. I think I want to keep Beware alive here, so I will sack Porygon 2. I think it's done its part, as they end up resting on me. Interesting. I'll teleport here, as they potentially Sleep Talk, into my Porygon Z, and I think here I just value getting a KO as soon as possible. So I'll click Hyper Beam, which absolutely melts this. Unfortunately now, it puts me in a position where I have to recharge for a turn. That said, I believe Noctowl should live a close combat from Urshifu. As Grimmsnarl comes out. They go for the T-Wave. And in this position, I think Porygon 2 is pretty safe to click Toxic, though I do expect Mandibuzz to potentially come out here, so... But I'll try Toxic anyway, as they go for Reflect. Nice. Puts that on a timer, and I will recover my HP here, as they take an Urshifu. I don't think Foul Play KOs, but I think Braviary is quite expendable in this position. Wow, so I actually lived that. I'm quite surprised. I will U-turn in case they swap out, which they don't. How much did Close Combat do earlier? 39% to my Beware. Though I do believe Noctowl survives. I'll click Hyper Voice here, as it kind of hits anything for a decent chunk of damage. as they go into Grimmsnarl. Now they might be a Spirit Break, and I can't afford for Noctowl to get weakened here, so I'll go back into Porygon 2 to Scout Spirit Break, which is exactly what they are, and I'll click Recover. They are thankfully on a timer. As Mandibuzz comes out, I will Teleport. I believe their best play here is to Roost, as they actually swap into Grimmsnarl. Interesting. I think Beware can survive a hit, and Drain Punch should put me in a decent position. They go for the Reflect as expected, but I get enough HP back to potentially live the close combat, which as we saw earlier did 39%, so probably not. I'll try Drain Punch again. They are presumably going to go for a Spirit Break, which is the right play here. But I do get rid of their Grimmsnarl, which is good for me. The end game isn't too clear for me yet, as Urshifu is quite a threat against my team. And I think I want to keep Beware alive for Crocodile. So I feel the most expendable member is it Porygon-Z in this position? As they go for a close combat. I'll try copy with Ditto. It looks like they're going to be Choice Scarf, so this could come down to a 50-50 here. As I will click U-turn on the Mandibuzz coming in. Nice. Am I faster than Mandibuzz? I don't think I am. No, I'm not. So they can Toxic me if I go into Noctowl. So I go into Beware here. Try and bait a Toxic in as I go into my Porygon 2. So that's quite beneficial to me. And I will just click Foul Play as they Roost. So this is looking dangerous as that is Moxie. I'll try Toxic it. I should live a hit even if they go for a knockoff. They go for a close combat, which doesn't do too much damage. Though unfortunately my Porygon will faint here. And I think I'm okay with that. They are Moxie, which makes me think they're Choice Scarf Moxie. And I believe my Noctowl should live one hit as it's not Stab. And I click Hyper Voice here. I almost want to sub. Thankfully I didn't. And I get the KO. Now this makes me believe that Urshifu is not Choice Scarf. It's probably Choice Band based on the damage it's been doing to me. I unfortunately cannot Roost here. But Noctowl is expendable. As long as my Ditto remains alive. I'll click Hurricane as they Toxic me. That's an okay damage. I'll swap into Beware, as it forces them to have to Toxic me, and I can gain HP back thanks to Drain Punch. Now unfortunately I am on a timer, but if they Roost, they do run the risk of losing their fighting type. So I'm trying to put them in a position where they will get KO'd through Toxic Chip. So I'll go into Beware in the Foul Play. As they actually Roost again. But their timer is getting much more severe here. As I get some back thanks to Drain Punch. And they can't afford to Roost here. So I'm banking on this not being Choice Scarf and winning a 50-50 if it is Choice Scarf. Though I think it's Choice Band based on the way they're playing. Because I believe Crocodile is its Choice Scarf and it outspeeds me. Wins the 50-50, which cost me the game. Very, very unfortunate end game there. Maybe I could have played it better, but we take a loss and we're going to pause till we find our next game. So we have a game against Mono Fire. In this game, Beware is definitely expendable because Fluffy does make it weak to fire attacks. Noctowl is looking quite good, as well as Ditto to copy something like Volcarona. So we're going to try open up with Noctowl as they go Torkoal turn 1. I'm going to try sub in their face, expect them to maybe want to yawn, Lava Plume, or throw some Stealth Rocks down my way. As they Eruption. Ooh, that's going to do a lot of damage to me. So unfortunately I have nothing that lives Eruption, so I'm going to try click Hyper Voice here just to weaken it as much as possible, to weaken its Eruption as they go for a Stealth Rock. And now I'll try get my sub back up. Actually, I'm going to try Calm Mind. Hopefully they don't go for a Yawn here. Or possibly they can swap into Rotom Heat. Nice. So the Eruption doesn't break my sub, so I can sub here. Which forces in Incineroar. Hurricane is less accuracy because of Sun, so I click Hyper Voice. As I do actually outspeed, surprisingly. They do go for a Flame Charge, however, which can definitely be an issue for me as they reveal Life Orb. I think Bewear is the most expendable member here, so I will swap into this on the knockoff, and I'll click Drain Punch. Now I do value getting rid of these Stealth Rocks as they actually give me Incineroar. Not bad. Yeah, I think I just accept the fact that Bewear dies here. To an Air Slash. I thought they'd go for a Flamethrower. So with that, I think Porygon can come in and click Toxic. Charizards are very often scarfed on fire builds. And I've been playing so much Nat decks, I'm kind of afraid of it being Mega, but obviously it's not in this generation. So Toxic kind of gets anything swappy in except Salazzle, which would be a very good play if they go for that. And the aim here is to kind of let them set up Volcarona perhaps, and copy them, and reverse sweep. Though I don't think they'll let me take Volcarona. We know now, however, that Noctowl can actually sub in front of Torkoal, which is very good information to have. So they go for an Air Slash. That's okay with me. I'm just going to recover in your face. Get as much HP back as possible. I think in this position, they should go Salazzle. And try Toxic me. Porygon 2 is still looking like a nice wall breaker. Though there is a part of me that maybe wants to put Porygon Z as a Scarf as well. So here with the recover, I should get back to full HP even if they tried to Air Slash me again. So that's not too much of an issue. As we do wait for them to click something. I mean, we'll take the win here if they end up disconnecting. It kind of semi-makes up for my disconnect a couple of games ago. As they go to Air Slash me again, I'm just going to continuously recover in your face. As I force in Torkoal, and here I think I value a Toxic on them too. As I do guarantee outspeed. So they go Salazzle, good play. As I take in Braviary. That taunt is quite annoying. They could potentially overheat on me here. I want to get rid of the Stealth Rocks, but it's not a huge issue, so I'm going to... They get a crit on the Sun, which will absolutely KO me. How unfortunate. I think Porygon should live one and try attack. Kind of just picks up a KO in this position. I think it lives one. Though it is Sun boosted, so we'll have to see. That crit is unfortunate, but it is Sun boosted, so it very much may have KO'd regardless. This Salazzle is definitely an issue to my team. That said, I do believe an endgame with Ditto is very possible. I think maybe I should make the Porygon Z Choice Scarf, just because it does fare better against late game when Ditto can't come in and copy something. They give me Porygon, sorry, they give me Rotom, as I survive. Wow, that is bulky. But thankfully they don't live the second try attack. As they take in Charizard. Now I do believe a Fire Blast will KO me. But I think Porygon 2 is somewhat expendable here. That did a lot of damage. Okay, in this position, Noctowl is the most expendable member. As now the Sun is gone, I think I should survive one. I did not mean to go into Porygon Z. I meant to go into Porygon 2, but this works fine too, as I believe my choice specs will get a KO here. They go in Volcarona. That's okay with me. This is the endgame I wanted to go for, especially if I get a Paralysis or Freeze here, which I don't get. I'll give them Porygon 2. As they Fiery Dance me, and now Ditto can copy, and I believe Fiery Dance kind of just wins the game. It is Sun boosted. It's not very effective on something like Salazzle and Charizard, but I believe in the Sun with potentially 3 stages in special attack, I should be able to win the game here. I don't think he survived this. As they are Sash, so they do survive, but for how long? I will outspeed the Charizard because I am Choice Scarf with +1 speed, unless this is for some reason a min speed Volcarona. Nice. GG. So that was a very kind of close endgame, but thankfully they gave me Volcarona, which is exactly what I needed to win the game. So we're going to pause there till we find the next one. So we have our next game, and it's against Mono Poison. Now, Mono Poison can be quite an issue for my team, as the team overall does lack some important wall breakers outside of something like Porygon Z. So here, I almost want to open up Porygon Z, but Gengar is such a big issue for me, so... I think I'll open up Noctowl, as they go Salazzle, and I cannot afford this to get Toxic. So I will go into Porygon Z here, as indeed they do Toxic me. Now in case... Oh, I did not mean to click that. So that was a misclick on my part. I think I clicked too fast. I meant to click Dark Pulse here. So I have to click Dark Pulse, which does a good chunk of damage actually, and puts me in a position where I can Revenge Kill. But I do need to keep Porygon Z alive, I think, for something like Toxapex in the late game. So I'll go into Ditto here and just try Toxic whatever they want to send in. That said, I do feel like Beware is also slightly expendable in this game. But absolutely anything here should be able to get Toxic. Nice. So they give me some chip on Salazzle. And here, as I said, I believe Beware is the most expendable member on the team. As they go for a Flamethrower, which almost KOs, but thankfully Salazzle will faint after this. In this position, I think I'll get him Porygon 2, as they take in Drapion, presumably wanting to go for either Toxic Spikes or a knockoff here. So I'll go Braviary, as they indeed try to knock me off. They do outspeed most of my team, so I'll click Brave Bird. Oh, they have Rock Slide. Not good. And if they are max speed, they will outspeed my entire team, unfortunately, so... They look to be Assault Vest based on their moveset. Now I'll click Earthquake here. Get as much chip off them as possible. And I think in this position it looks like I'm going to go for a Noctowl endgame. Foul Play should do a good chunk of damage, even if they do end up knocking me off. 18% is okay. I'll try Foul Play again. And I'll click Recover here. They end up critting me. That is not good. As they knock off my leftovers, so that is going to be a very early GG. So I could have definitely played that one better, but on top of that I did get some maybe bad luck, as Gengar is probably going to go ahead and sweep my entire team. So we're going to take another quick loss there, unfortunately, as we will pause till I find the next game. So we have another game against Mono Poison, and hopefully this one is the redemption I need to prove that Mono Normal can actually beat Mono Poison. Again, like in the last game, Porygon Z is super good in this game, as well as Noctowl for its ability to kind of stall out a lot of the threats they do have. So we're actually going to try to open up Noctowl as they open up Slowbro, and I will just put up a sub here. Oof. That's not good, but it does let me copy them with Ditto. I will click Hurricane, just get as much chip off as possible, as they go for a Psychic here. Now the question is who is expendable, and it's definitely Beware again. There's pretty much nothing it can really do in this matchup. It's important for me, and I'll try copy with Ditto here. and just click Psychic myself. They can go into Skunk Tank, which would be a good play, so I'm going to try click Flamethrower here. Catch them off guard. Nice. Get a decent chunk of damage off here, and we will swap into Braviary on this Sucker Punch. I expect maybe a knockoff to want to come out here, so I will U-turn. As they end up protecting. That's okay, I'll still U-turn. I think the aim of this game is to set up Noctowl in something's face as they go into Pex. Now I kind of want to just click Hyper Beam this turn, but I can't because they do have Gengar alive. So I'm going to get a Noctowl and try High Bind the sub here. And start Calm Minding in their face. Unfortunately, if they do have Haze, that is an issue for me. As they go for a Scald, I will Calm Mind. Even still, I do believe my Hurricane will do a good chunk of damage here. And I can potentially confuse them. Not too bad. And we do confuse, which is very nice from me, as they do reveal they are in fact Haze, which means they can PP stall me out here basically infinitely. So in this position, I think I value Porygon-Z a lot. As Weezing comes out, I'll click Tri Attack. If they swap into Gengar, great play, as they actually give me Weezing, which is quite nice. Now Gengar definitely comes out, but Porygon-2 should be able to wall what they throw my way, as they are a sub build. So I'll click Foul Play. If they Curse Body me, that's not good. If they don't, I'll click Foul Play again. Presumably they're going to keep going until they get their Curse Body, as they actually Dazzling Gleam, and they do get the Cursed Body here. I'm going to try swap into Ditto. If they Shadow Ball expecting this to happen, fantastic, fantastic play. As they got another sub up. But based on how little damage Dazzling Gleam did, I can get back out Porygon and click Foul Play again on the Shadow Ball coming out. So all I want to put them in a position where I can just copy their Gengar. They probably sub up again here. But Dazzling Gleam shouldn't be enough to KO me. Especially because I can just recover it. And I am immune to Shadow Ball, so we're keeping my Porygon-Z alive, because once Gengar is gone, Porygon-Z goes in so hard in this game. By just clicking either Tri Attack on things like Slowbro, Amoonguss, and Skunk Tank, and if Toxapex can live, we can just click Hyper Beam and absolutely melt it. So I'll throw on the timer there. So in this position, they might try go for a Shadow Ball expecting me to go in Ditto and recopy them, or they might just go Dazzling Gleam to get some free damage. Either way, my Foul Play does guarantee break it, and that's the last thing I need Porygon-2 for in this matchup, I feel. So they go for Dazzling Gleam. It's just a lot of damage, but they do end up giving me Porygon. That's okay. Or sorry, give me Gengar. Now in this position, they can't necessarily go Slowbro, as setting up in my face is definitely worrying for them. Now, are they Regenerator? Hurricane, 40% Slowbro. Yeah, they're Regenerators. They're not Quick Claw. That is fantastic information to have, as Foul Play does a ton of damage. As I said, I do believe that Porygon-2 is somewhat expendable in this position. And we actually get the KO as well. So they go in Skunk Tank, and they want to go for the KO here. I will go Braviary, as I believe Porygon-2 can still be kind of useful in the later game. They Poison Jab, and then fortunately they do actually end up getting the poison on me. Skunk Tank can definitely be a bit annoying to my team. I will click Brave Bird here. It does the most damage to Skunk Tank. That does a lot of damage to Skunk Tank, and I will Roost off their damage here. So this game is thankfully going a lot better than the last one. And I will U-turn here on what I expect them to maybe swap into something like Toxapex or maybe Slowbro, as they end up protecting. I still U-turn because I value getting out Porygon-Z here. It is on max HP, so I should guarantee live a Sucker Punch. And I do guarantee outspeed. So Tri Attack is my best position here. With Gengar gone, Tri-Attack goes in hard. As they give me a Moongus, that's okay. Specs adaptability hits so hard. There is nothing on their team that wants to swap into this. As they end up forfeiting, so we're going to pause there till we find another game. So we have the next game, and this is against Mono Ghost. So Mono Ghost can definitely give Mono Normal a bit of an issue, especially with things like Dragapult. Corsola can be annoying, as well as Mimikyu. So in this game, we definitely value Porygon 2 a lot, as well as Noctowl actually. So I'm going to open up a Noctowl, expecting them to want to go into Corsola, but they go and do Dragapult hard. So I'll take in Porygon 2 here. If they are Dragon Dance, Foul Play threatens them a lot, which they are Life Orb. So you just click Foul Play here. And hopefully they don't crit. We do survive and we get the KO, which is super nice. Unfortunately, it puts me in a somewhat compromising position now, where my Porygon 2 is a lot weaker for the end game. But getting rid of Dragapult is such a big threat to my team. Chandelure is also quite a big threat to my team, as Mimikyu comes out. Do they Swords Dance here? They surely don't. I'm going to Braviary, as I expect a Drain Punch to come out as they play rough. So we can U-turn here and actually end up breaking their Disguise. Nice, as they go for a Swords Dance, which lets me copy them and just click Shadow Sneak here and get some good chip on their team. If they take an Aegislash here, it screams to me that I am Weakness Policy. As they take in Corsola, I'll try getting my Noctowl and just click a sub in their face. So they end up actually forfeiting. So sub thankfully isn't broken to Nightshade, and we end up getting a win here. So we're going to hopefully look for one more. I'll pause till I be right back. So we have another game, and it's against Mono Dragon. So in this one here, definitely stuff like Dragapult is an issue, as well as Komodo. So I expect them to maybe want to open up with Komodo, so I'm going to try get in Porygon 2 and get a Toxic Spikes down as early as possible. As they go into this, I'm going to click Foul Play, turn 1. Just get a KO right off the bat, which is super nice for me, as that dispatches a huge threat. So here they go into Komodo, and I'm going to try Toxic them, as they end up subbing. Not good. Foul Play will break if they are a Belly Drum set, as they go straight for a Drain Punch. So I'm going to get in Braviary here, as it should nicely leave a Drain Punch. I'll click Brave Bird here. Oof. They Thunder Punch me. It's okay. I will just attack and break their sub as much as possible. And we get rid of Braviary, but in this position, Porygon Z I think gets a KO. But as well as that, Beware is looking quite nice. We'll go Porygon Z here, and just click Tri-Attack. Actually, I really want to trick this. I'm going to trick this. As unfortunately I do die, but they are now tricked to a Drain Punch, which means Beware can set up a bulk up here. As I'm taking no kind of damage, I'll click Drain Punch whenever's coming in. Actually, I think Facade was the play there, as Drain Punch does a bit. And I'll get in my Porygon 2 again and just recover up as much HP as possible. So I've really dispatched the Komodo. Unfortunately for them, they missed twice in a row, 3 times in a row. That's very unfortunate. And here I will teleport into my Noctowl and try to get my sub up, as it does wonders against a lot of their team. They take in Kyurem. I'm assuming this is a sub Roost Kyurem, so I'll just try Calm Mind in their face. That's a lot of damage to me. We'll click Hurricane here, as it hits for a lot of damage. Please connect. Nice. As they also confuses, so Hyper Voice should pick up a KO here, assuming they don't freeze me. Nice, so we get rid of Kyurem, which is a decent threat to my team, as Komodo comes back out, and we know here Beware is pretty much always the play on this. I click Facade as it hits everything else neutrally for more damage, and they take in this, so Porygon 2 is the play, as they get down Toxic Spikes. That's not good for me at all. I'll just try Foul Play them for a bit of chip damage. So it looks like it's probably going to be an end game with Ditto. Though the end game is looking quite difficult for me here, especially because now I am susceptible to Toxic. I think I sack Noctowl and get in Beware. Now unfortunately a lot can swap into me, but I'm going to try and bulk up in their face exactly as I expect them to stay in. And now I Drain Punch here to gain a good bit of HP back hopefully. Nice, that's doing a lot of damage. If they swap into their Noivern, I don't think they survive. And this should get rid of this threat for my team. Now unfortunately in this position my Beware is fairly expendable. The end game is looking quite difficult. This is probably Choice Scarfed. And I have to sack my Porygon too, I believe. As we recover in their face, actually. As much HP as possible here is very, very welcome. And I'll click Foul Play to pick up a KO. As they are not Choice Scarf, this is very good information for me to have, as it means I can copy them with my Ditto and start picking up KOs. So I think I sack my Beware here, as I think I do actually outspeed their Dragalge. Oh, they do not have any dragon moves, so I'll click Sludge Wave here. Unfortunately, it probably won't pick up a KO, even with adaptability. So this endgame got quite hard, as they go into Hydreigon, so I sack my Porygon too. If they double back into Dragalge, good play. As they Draco Meteor. So this is looking quite hard for me because I have to outspeed and land Draco Meteors, and I lose the speed tie in the end again, so GG. We're going to look for one more game I think, and that'll actually be it, so I'll be right back. So we have a game against Mono Electric, and in Mono Electric, Magnezone can actually pose as a bit of a threat to my team, but here I think I open up a Porygon Z. Porygon Z kind of immediately threatens their entire team, especially if they want to open up Pinkarchin. I'll just click Tri Attack here and get off as much damage as possible. So that should actually get a KO, which is super nice for me, as it kind of removes their electric terrain for the rest of the game. Now Toxtricity can also be a huge issue. They take in Draco's ult. I think Beware can live at Bolt Peak. Nicely enough. It did a lot of damage, I won't deny that, but I do live. And here I click Drain Punch, as it kind of hits most things coming in, at least decently. They take in Rotom, and I go in Porygon 2, always in Rotom. If they Volt Switch could play, they probably go for an Overheat here. They do Volt Switch. So this puts me in a slightly compromised position as Zeraora comes out. Now, Beware definitely survives most things Zeraora throw my way, but Noctowl is definitely expendable in this game. As they go for a bulk up, that is terrifying. So what we want to do here is try and bait out a close combat. I'm not sure they go for the Plasma Fist. With Porygon 2 out, actually no, I think Beware lives one. I click Drain Punch, as they are Fire Punch, which does not do enough damage even nearly. So in this position, I think what I want to do is damage Zeraora as much as possible, as they actually go back into Rotom. I always swap into Porygon 2 in this position. I think I want to copy Zeraora in the end game and try reverse sweep them. Will it be the play? Not Toxic here. If they go Toxtricity, good play. They Volt Switch. As expected. They go Toxtricity, great play. I recover in this phase. Again, Ditto can always copy whatever they throw my way, as they are Shift Gear. So Foul Play will do a ton of damage here. They can Drain Punch me, but I don't think it should KO. And I can Foul Play and copy their Shift Gear here, as they get their Throat Spray. Oh, that did no damage. That was so weak. But I think I Foul Play here again, to get it as low as possible, to hopefully now allow Ditto to come in and click Boom Burst. Unfortunately, Punk Rock I think does actually reduce the damage as well, but even still 182 base should pick up a KO here. And pretty much anything swapping in. Nice. Now they can go Zone, but we do resist their stabs. What? You might be trapped. I can't be trapped, I'm not Steel type. We click Boom Burst regardless, as we live the Flash Cannon. And it's looking like we can reverse sweep here with Boom Burst. Nice. In this HP threshold, I don't think Rotom or Zero Aura survive, and to be honest, I really don't think Draco's ult does either, unless it's Sash. Nice. So it looks like we're going to get a reverse Ditto Sweep we've been looking for the entire game, as we end up getting it. So that's going to be the end of this showcase. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Normal is definitely not, I think, in the best position in the game right now. It does rely on some 50-50s with Ditto, I feel. But overall a fun type. I think I would have preferred Porygon-Z to be Choice Scarf, so I will put 2 Porygon-Zs in the paste bin below for you to choose which one you want to use. Other than that, if you did like this content, feel free to like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. All that helps me immensely. I have also left the Discord link down below if you want to join, kind of get to know the community and all that. So that's going to be it for me today. I hope you have a fantastic day and take care.